I don't really talk about it. So yeah, wasn't fun.
Meanwhile, your life was like falling apart.
Yes, just felt numb. I just felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. But it was more what it was doing to me mentally. I think personally that's why a lot of people have lost themselves. You don't realise how many men are actually just sitting there feeling the exact same as you are, but they won't say anything because they're scared to, or they think no one cares.
Hi, and welcome everyone to the new episode of the Butterfly Effect podcast. Today in our beautiful studio, we have a very special guest. A person who can be a role model for, I believe, any man who wants to build his own business, work on his mindset, and learn how to go through the struggles by not only playing hard, but also learn how to be vulnerable, learn how to be open, and learn how to overcome the struggles, I believe, with the strong mindset of a winner. A strong mindset of the person who wants to achieve great things in this life. I think it's a big intro.
Stop it.
And now you have to
That's
give up.
lovely.
And now you have to give up. Hello and welcome, Matt.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming today.
My pleasure.
So I know that you don't know about the questions that I'm going to ask today.
Yeah.
But the first question is pretty much the same for everyone. That's the topic of our podcast today, is that I would ask you to represent yourself and tell me and our viewers today who you are, but through the lens of your transformation.
Okay.
Who you were before and who you are right now.
Okay. Okay. That's what we did. Okay. So my name's Matt. I'm 29. I have been someone over the years who's transformed, probably not always in a good way, over the last couple of years. I've lost myself in terms of who I was. Becoming someone I didn't like to see anymore. And then coming to Bali, I knew I needed to do something different. I went to Dubai. I was drinking a lot, so I was obviously with a fitness business, it doesn't really work that way, and trying to be in shape all the time. But it was more what it was doing to me mentally. So over a period of 2 years, I was drinking in excess, and then eventually I was like, I've had enough of this. All my relationships were ending. My family was not going well. Like everything was just going bad for me, apart from business was going well. And then I thought I need to do something about it. So I came to Bali, and within maybe 2 weeks, my life kind of changed for the better. Quite out drinking, I started doing yoga, things that I basically don't do. And most importantly, I started spending more time on myself. I'm someone that puts a lot of time into everyone else, and then when it comes to myself, I let that kind of slide. And it was starting to take a toll on me. So now I've spent a lot more, because obviously time zone, I can spend more time to kind of do what's important for my mental health. And obviously when you're saying about raising awareness, I think it was quite nice to say that, because for me now it's more about like, it's great getting in shape, but if your mental health isn't right and you're not working on it, it doesn't matter. I know a lot of people want to get in shape to look good and feel good, but ultimately if your mental health's not good, it doesn't matter. And that's what I've kind of learned in myself, is you can try and look the best you want to look, but at the end of the day, if your mental health's not great, then you're not going to be great either. So that should be priority that's what I'm trying to teach people. That should be priority as well.
Absolutely. I agree with this idea. And also, by doing this podcast and talking to very successful people, I understand that that's the journey that everyone is going through. That on some point, you don't want just to achieve your goals. You want to achieve your goals and don't lose yourself and don't fuck your mindset and your mental health.
Yeah, I think with social media especially, and just as you grow as a person, you get warped into the kind of social media life of just chasing money, and you see people online, you're like, I want to have that life. And then when you start making good money and you start progressing, you realize the money isn't really the thing that makes you happy. It's what you can do. Like for me now, it's more helping other people now. Obviously I help them with the transformation, but even just doing things like this, it's just if one person can take something from it and be like, oh, I really, I understand you, and like I'm in that situation. But if they can see that I've changed, then they can do it as well. That's great for me. That's the main goal. But yeah, I think most successful people have got some sort of backstory of why, one, they're successful, but two, they have issues, and that's normally down to they've not dealt with stuff in the past, and they've just tried to be busy and work, and they've never dealt with it. That's why you tend to find a lot of successful people have like, alcohol problems or drug problems or, things like that, and they're never happy because they've never dealt with stuff previously.
And that's exactly what I want you to ask about. Put me into the context of your life before, why you decided that you want to have a business, why you decided that you want to be successful, and why you had this specific, let's say, journey in your head, how exactly you want to get successful.
My parents, well, my dad had a lot of money when I was younger, and my mum didn't, and then they got divorced. So I watched my mum work like 7 days a week at one point, and I never really saw her. So most of my childhood, can't really remember, to be fair, but I can't really remember it. But I always watched the struggle of it, and she never had any money, and she always used to worry about money, and I just thought, I used to do jobs because I was told to. So when I was younger, it was like, you have to get a job, you have to just kind of compromise to what you're told to do. And I just hated every single job I did. I think I had about 25 between like 19 to, no, between like 18 to 22. I hated working. And then I worked in, again, trying to follow the dreams of everyone else, at a state agency. Then I moved to London, worked in Mayfair. I thought it was amazing. Like, I'm doing what everyone's telling me it's going to progress my life. And then I got to a point where I was like, I was just drinking all weekend, working all week. I was in this like rat race of just barely being able to afford to do anything, but just trying to say I live in London. And then a lockdown hit and I ended up starting a business. I went back to live with my mum and I started a successful business selling gym equipment during lockdown. And it did very, very well for 3 years. And I didn't have a clue about tax or VAT or how to even run a business. I just winged it completely. And I absolutely loved every second of it. I would work literally like 18-hour days and I absolutely loved every second of it. And then I realized this is what I'm meant to be doing, is working for myself because I loved it. And I would spend time in my head. I used to hate the fact that like my boss would come in like a really nice car and all of us were struggling to like get our commission. So it was nice when I could do it for myself and be like, I can actually do this. So that was a spark for me. And then obviously when lockdown ended, I was like, okay, what do I do now? And a lot of people were kind of saying you should start coaching. I have qualifications as well. So I was like, well, I'll try it. And I was giving loads of free advice away. And then eventually I started the business online with it. And then it progressed very well, very quickly. Obviously, I didn't know much about how to run a business online at the time because my business was the previous one was solely from like Facebook Marketplace. So it was really easy. Like people messaged me and they come pick up the weights. And so I had to learn how to do social media. But then that's when I kind of got warped into the social media cycle of chasing more. I didn't care in lockdown because I was just focused on me and my customers. Whereas now you have to focus on how you post your content, how it's made, how you show yourself off. And
Now you're on the stage and people are watching
yes,
you.
so
and
when
you
you're
feel the
not
pressure.
feeling great, it starts to take a toll because you have to kind of back fake a little bit. And then, yeah, so that's kind of how the business started. But then it just progressed from there, really. And it's obviously been.
We'll touch a couple of interesting topics over here. The one that I want to go a little bit deeper in is that after your parents divorced and from being a child of the wealthy family, you became a child of the wealthy father and broke mother.
Mhm.
How's that picture of your mom going from having everything to having to work 7 days a week? How'd that influence you? What kind of insight it gave you? Maybe now you can see.
It gave me an insight of where you live in the world and what you have to settle for, or you think you have to settle for, unless you branch out and do something yourself. And I think a lot of people get trapped in a bubble of having to work 9 to 5 and just they don't like the job, they don't like the life, but they don't change anything about it. And it just made me realize that I don't want that life. Obviously, when I was younger, it's like the happy family, but they weren't happy. So it was very like quite a lot of quite a lot of violence and stuff. So it wasn't great. But sorry, I don't really to talk about it. So yeah, wasn't wasn't fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of taught me what I don't want in life. Anyway,
I believe that the concept of traumas that everyone is talking about, that trauma is something that screw you up and make you broken or something, it's not true because traumas are something that supposed to happen for us to shape us in the form that we need to become in order to serve our purpose.
Yeah, I agree.
Because now when you work with people, you can feel deeply for their stories because you also have a part of your own story that made you vulnerable and open and sensitive.
Yeah, I feel like for many years I wasn't like that though. I was very like closed off, and again never dealt with issues from the past, which I'm now dealing with. And obviously coming to Bali, I've had to deal with it because I had no other option. But what I was finding when I speak to people as well is they want to get in shape, for example, but they don't want us to look good. I always say, what's the real reason you want to get in shape?
Yeah.
Because it's not just to look good. There's a backstory of something, and everyone's got a backstory. Obviously my backstory is different, but I would just kind of always forget about my backstory and not really tell anyone. Obviously, when I was mentioned to you, I've been a bit more open about it now. As I'm getting older now, I've realised that if I have children, next relationships and things, I don't want to have to bring this with me. And I don't want my kids to kind of think that dad's broken kind of thing. So that's why I want them to look at me and be proud of me rather than, dad's drinking all the time and, he's not nice kind of thing. So obviously for me now, it's just dealing with the issues here. And I've communicated with my parents more about it in terms of how I feel. because I was drinking a lot, and then I'd ring them and cry, and I didn't understand why. Uh, so I was like, I need to stop doing it basically and figure out what's going on. So that's why I came here.
And what was your first steps into processing all of that, to healing?
It was just communicating with them first because they didn't understand. They thought, because I can't remember my childhood, basically. It's been blocked out of my memory for whatever reason, obviously, because of what happened. But both of them couldn't really understand how it affected me. So when I explained it to them, that helped me because they were kind of understanding it and they get upset. So it was kind of nice to know, and they'd apologise, but it was nice to know that like they could like understood because they just thought, drinking in the UK is a big culture, so they just assumed it was a habit. But I don't drink every day. Like I won't drink in at home. I will binge drink, so I will just drink an astronomical amount, like silly amount, to a point of like passing out. And it started to become a lot more frequent for me. So it was a case of like, this isn't normal. And then what I started to do was I'd ring my mum and cry, and she was like, why do you keep doing this kind of thing? And then I'd do it to my dad. And then eventually I realised what the issues were, and then kind of started to deal with them. And then the main deal was just obviously speaking to them first and then changing my environment. So Dubai wasn't good for me. A lot of fake people there. No offence to anyone in Dubai, but there's a lot of fake people there. There was a lot of things that weren't good for me, a lot of temptations, shall we say, of drinking, going out a lot, spending a lot of money. It wasn't aligning with me. It's not me. It's a lifestyle that I don't want anymore. I don't want to be that person with the flashy clothes all the time and showing off. I don't want to be that person. It doesn't make me happy. So I thought, where else can I go that's on my bucket list? And I thought, I'll try Bali. And then basically from here, I've just tried to do different things. Firstly, understand the trauma, understand the issue and work on it. But the thing for the trauma is, or past experiences, it's never going to go, but it's just how you deal with it and grow from it. And I believe it's the best thing that ever happened to me because I wouldn't have come here, wouldn't have obviously met Dave, you, and other people in my life who are now like, I class as close friends. Like I've built genuine connections here and I've got such a great support network. So for me, it's like, it's the best thing that ever happened because I had to hit rock bottom. Like I actually had to do it to progress. I don't think I would have ever changed if I didn't hit that low. Because in Dubai, I couldn't even get out of bed. I used to get this like really anxious feeling in my stomach. I couldn't leave the room. And I would like go to the gym. I'd force myself to go to every day. I'd go to the gym still because it was my mindset. I'd still work, but then I'd look forward to 1 o'clock, so I'd go and have a drink. And I was like, this isn't me. And I was really watching my life spiral downhill. And I was just getting drunk every day in Dubai, every single day. And I was just waking up the same. And then it was just like, and then obviously I was with my girlfriend at the time. We ended. Some reasons because of that, but I wasn't as nice as I used to be. I'd lost myself completely.
What was going on in your head back then? Because I believe that person that knows that I have such a great potential to do things, you already taste the taste of success. What was going on in your head by not being able to leave your room, to live social life, to progress in your work, in your physique, and your relationship?
Just felt numb. I just felt like I didn't want to be here anymore. Basically, I just was, yeah, was just done. And then, yeah, I was just done. It was a weird feeling. I wouldn't wish it on anyone. It was a weird time in my life. But again, I'm glad I did it because it's made me value things a lot more, like real friendships, relationships, people in my life that I want to give my energy to, my clients, people I want to help. So I'm glad it happened because it's made me, I have more feelings now, as in like I understand people more. Whereas for me at one point, I'll be honest, I was just chasing money. I thought success was just money and growing as a social media and trying to be this person on social media. And was never that person. So then I got absorbed into it and you start forgetting who you are. And that's what was happening to me. I didn't know who I was anymore. I relied on my physique. I thought my physique was the only way that people would like me. That's what my social media is for, my tattoos, my physique. And I thought my physique was going down the pan, well, going down really quickly. And I just thought, I don't know who I am. And I couldn't look in the mirror anymore. And I was just kind of like, I'm done. I was kind of just ready to go, really. It sounds a bit weird, but yeah.
What would you maybe recommend to the person who feels aligned with what you said right now, with having issues with addiction, with alcohol or drugs or anything else, but not being able, for example, to move countries? Because most of the people, they can just, pack the bag and go. They have responsibilities and the families and stuff. What would be your best advice to these kind of people?
My best advice for anyone that is struggling like I was would probably be to deal with the issue and the actual deep rooted issue, not the surface level issue. Because what happens with drinking and drugs is over time you do start losing financials, you do start losing your mental health. But but that's not the main reason why it's happened. So I look at what caused you to do that originally, and just deal with the fact that you're going to be in pain for a little bit, and just deal with it.
Just
Because
face the shit.
yeah,
Stop running away.
face the shit and just deal with it. And ultimately, that's what I ran away from for years. And then I masked it with alcohol, with being busy with work, and trying to help people all the time. Like, if you ask anyone, I will help anyone. I will sit with them for an hour and just help them with anything, fitness, business, anything. But then you're not dealing with the real stuff. So if anyone is struggling with drink or drugs, or even some people binge eat instead, you have to just deal with the issue. And even if you don't want to, ultimately you have to look at how I look at the lens now is the older version of me and the younger version of me. Would they be proud of who I am now? And I was not proud of who I was. And I thought, if I had kids, would they be proud of the dad? Probably not, because I'm not the nice person I used to be anymore. So I was like, I want to be that person now. Like, I'm actually ready to be that person. And I think a lot of people will be the same. Like, they lose themselves. They'll look at me and think, I don't know who I am anymore. So my best advice is just to deal with it as best you can. Go and see. I wouldn't even say like counselling was not good for me. I don't think that helped me. If anything, it made it worse, because they can't give you advice. They tend to just sit and listen. So you say all your stuff, but you don't get anything back from it. So for me, it was just a case of it was more mentality. So doing spiritual, I know it sounds, but spiritual things from my mind, strengthening my mind again, finding out who I am. I think a lot of people lose themselves with finding out who you are, who you were before this trauma, or who were you during this trauma before it really triggered in your mind. And I think trauma gets older as you get, trauma gets worse as you get older, because your brain starts to kind of understand it more. But because you were younger, it didn't fully like register, so you kind of deal with it as you get older. So I would say like just basically trying to do what is going to be best for you to try everything basically. I meditate now. I meditate every day. Working out again is great, but it's not something that fixes anything. Like I said, it's kind of like a vessel. It's like a shell. It doesn't fix the issue. So I would definitely say, and stop looking on social media as well. Everyone's perfect lives, because that doesn't help as well. I feel some people, when they're mentally down and they see someone's life, like I get messages quite a lot, but especially before this post that I posted about like, oh, you're smashing life, you look like you're really happy, and I was like, this is not what I was trying to portray. But social media from a lens of someone else looks like my life's absolutely amazing, whereas it was absolutely going down the hill. I wouldn't post that I was sad, because I don't want people to be like, are you okay? How are you? I don't want that. I don't like that. But I would still post like normal. I'd run the business like normal, but you wouldn't know behind that. I was just absolutely
None of us are posting things when we're at our lowest. Like
no.
when we live in the hospital or arguing with the loved ones, obviously we're not posting that. That's why it gives this impression that everyone else's life is perfect. It's just you, the only loser who's not handling, who's struggling, who's going through shit.
Mm-hmm.
But what's the social media game for you? Because you've been on different sides of this game. Like you were the one who's watching, you were the one who's standing on the stage. What it is in your life, what part it takes.
In terms of
In terms of what you said before, like feeling like you're playing a game, like you're being fake, like you're showing not the reality, but the part that you want to show, and people see what they want to see.
yeah, I struggle with social media now. I've learned to let go of it more, so I don't spend much time. I used to spend hours scrolling. I would look at other people's content and be like, wow, theirs is better than mine. They've got better car than me. They've got better this and that. And it started to in my brain. I wasn't happy with what I had. And that's the worst bit of life, is you wouldn't know about any of this stuff if you didn't have social media. So I would be happy with what I had, because I wouldn't know about it. Whereas you see this kind of edited photos, videos, and you think, why can't I look like that? Or why can't I be that person? But now I'm starting to get used to the fact that I've struggled, and I see some of these people that I've met and they've also struggled. So I know that everyone struggles. So when I see that, I don't see it as like your life's perfect. I know you've got something that's happened, and you're just a normal person to me now. I don't look up and think, wow, well, you're an amazing, I want this life. I don't. All I want now is just my life to be as best it can be, not someone else's. So in terms of how I do it now, I have no emotion of what I'm posting in terms of business stuff, but now my content now is more to try and help as well mentally. So my gear from just helping busy CEOs get in shape has changed to how can I help you mentally as well? Because ultimately most men of businesses and women have struggled somewhere, and they put a lot of time into their work. They maybe don't have much time for family, themselves, and there's a reason for that, because they're distracting from something else. So my transformations now are more geared to helping people unlock the potential as well mentally, to bring out the best of them.
And how your business transformed together with your own transformation when you turn on your feelings, when you turn on your awareness.
It brings deeper connections with clients, which I lost briefly. Like they wouldn't have known this; they would have thought I was completely normal. But I had lost the connection with humans. I couldn't. I had no emotion. Basically, it was quite a weird feeling. I thought I was a robot. I just had no emotion for anyone. The only thing I got excited about was having a beer. That was it.
Happiness as well of their results and achievements. You're just like,
Yeah,
oh,
I just found it as in like another. I was like, right, okay, that's great for you. I'm really happy for you. But I was also kind of envious because I was like, you're actually really happy, and it was a weird thing to hear. Because I love the beauty about my job is like you aren't just, it's not the physical you're changing, it's the whole lifestyle, the structure, the happiness, they're looking in the mirror and they're happy with what they see. And it's the best job in the world. I love it. But the issue with me was that I was getting the opposite for myself. So I was kind of seeing them progress, and I was like, why can't I do this? I couldn't do anything. I had no structure. I couldn't concentrate. So I couldn't do anything. Anytime I could concentrate, I had a drink.
so you were helping people to make their life better. Meanwhile, your life was like falling apart.
Yes. So and I have just under 100 clients now. So obviously, there's a lot of mental strain that comes with that as well that people don't
You said
talk.
900 clients?
No, just under 100.
Just around 100.
Yeah.
That's 100 people. That's a lot.
Yeah, and then I have 7 staff that also need being paid and communicating with, and you have to show up for them as well. There's that when you have a business, you know yourself, you have to show up and keep showing up in it, even when you don't want to, and that's just part of you picked to do a business, and that's just part of the role. But it was hard to watch because it was like no one would know, so I just carry on as normal. But in terms of the actual transformations, it's amazing for in terms of the clients because they do really transform. But obviously for me, it did take a mental toll because a lot of them had issues that weren't really issues, and it was hard for me to kind of absorb their issues and then help them. But I always would, but it did eventually take a toll. So that's why I think I had maybe 2 weeks off the business completely. I didn't make any money that 2 weeks. I just literally had 2 weeks. I did Dubai where I got drunk for a week and didn't work, and then I did a week here. I just did nothing apart from fix myself. It was the best week of my life in terms of mentally for me. I've come back to work now and I'm working normal, but I am taking more time out for myself. So I have a cut off time for. I used to work till 1, 2 in the morning. I have a cut off time now at 11. No more texting, and I just have me time.
Hmm. Interesting. And you said that when you were going through this whole thing, you were acting normal, doing normal, no one knew.
Hmm.
Were there anyone who knew? Were there anyone you shared your struggles with?
Yeah. So my mum is literally not my best friend. I speak to her every day. I always will. She knew more than anyone, but so I'd speak to her about it. So I would kind of vent to my mum. But again, that's not fair, my mum, because I was realizing over time it was making her mental health go down. I didn't know this at the time. But when you're passing trauma onto someone else and constantly saying you're struggling, she would ring me and say, like, are you okay? Or you haven't texted me today. I'm worried about you. And I started to realize, like, it's not good for her. So that's one of my other key motivations for changing was I've affected my mum's life. I didn't even mean to. My ex-girlfriend as well knew. A couple of my good friends knew who I talked to. But for me, I don't like to show my feelings much. Well, used to. So I didn't like to tell people my dramas because ultimately no one really cares. And I'll be totally honest, no one actually cares unless they really love you. So what you tend to find is that you tell people stuff and they use it against you potentially in the future or
Hmm.
things like that. So people don't want to be around people that are unhappy as well, and you want to be around good energy. So if someone's constantly miserable or drinking a lot, it's not a good environment to be in. I wouldn't want to be around that person all the time. So I started to notice my friendships were starting to distance, and my family were as well because I wasn't a nice person to be around, unless I drank loads, and then I'd get sad. So I'd be happy briefly, and then I'd get sad. So it was just a case of, yeah. So my mum, my ex-girlfriend, a couple of my friends, but I would tell them loosely things. My ex-girlfriend would say it the most. She'd see me kind of cry or drink a lot, which obviously wasn't nice for her either. But it was just something couldn't fix it. I didn't know what to do. Been to counselling. I've taken tablets, medication to calm me down and stop anxiety. I couldn't stop. I couldn't. I just thought it was like forever. I thought I was just going to stay like that forever. It was quite a scary feeling, to be honest, because I just thought I had something wrong with me. I literally kept saying to my girlfriend, my ex, I've got something wrong with me. I don't know. I don't want to. She was like, go and get some help. And then the doctors and my mum were like, you've got nothing wrong with you. It's not, you just haven't, something's wrong that you haven't dealt with. So, yeah.
I guess that's partially also why we're doing all this content.
Hmm.
For those people who feel like they're the only ones who's
Yep.
having all this shit, they're the only ones who can't be helped, who can't be understood.
Yes.
I've seen many people, like I had lots of clients, and before that, like 10 years of listening to stories of people, and I know that no one is that special. Like we all been through pretty much the same thing, but with different colors.
Hmm.
But you also said that people don't really care about your issues that you're going through, only those who love you deeply. But the issue is that even those who love you deeply, they might not be able to help you, or they will see also your story from their perspective
Yes.
through the lens of their traumas and their experience.
Hmm.
So they won't be able to help you as well, even though they want to.
Hmm.
So I'm interested also in another question of, you said that um, you were not the fun person to stay with because you were not stable emotionally, mentally, and you've been basically busy of destroying your health and your life.
Hmm.
But still, there were people who stayed with you. What kind of changes you applied to your surroundings, to the people that you invite into your life, to the people that you build business with or build friendships with? How this question changed for you through your transformation?
So previous to this, I would say a lot of my friendships were more. It was more take from me rather than give. So it wasn't like an actual friendship. I felt like it was more like a. They would ask me questions about business, how to grow the business, or help. So I noticed over time it was kind of like fake friendships I had. Lend friends money, for example, they wouldn't pay me back. It started to become a little bit more of like are these real people in my life? Now it's a case of just generally having good energy around me. I don't care what you do. If you're a nice person in terms of I'm around you and you make me happy, I want to be your friend basically, and I'll be friends. I'll chat to anyone. I think people always think I'm going to be this like aggressive person, but I will chat to anyone honestly, and spend time doing that and invest in time. But in terms of business connections, I look at it's not just about the money side, who they want to help and why they want to do it as well. I want to see the motivation behind it rather than I want to make loads of money. What's the core message that you're trying to kind of you want to do basically? What you're trying to achieve with this mission, and if it aligns with me, I'll want to do business with you. And same with friends as well. If they have the same mindset of me, for example, they don't tell me you need to drink today. You need to come and have a drink with me. They support me and they kind of like, no, we're not drinking. We don't need to. That's the type of people I want to be around. Just healthy, happy people. I don't have the energy right now for drama. I don't have the energy for negative vibes. I have progressed enough now where I don't want to be around people that are making me feel bad. Anyone that is, belittling other people, things like that. I want to be around just quality people. And changing my environment was the only way to do that. Because in Dubai, I don't know if you've been to Dubai, but it's one of the places. It's a beautiful place, but there is a lot of, how do I say it, surface level people.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to get past that surface level. Whereas here, you can go and have a coffee and just chat to someone. And I've met some absolutely amazing people in Bali. This has been the best thing I've ever done in my life. Like I wake up every day and I'm excited to get up and see who I'm going to meet today and what I'm going to do. It's an absolutely insane feeling. I've never been excited in my life. Honestly, I have never ever got up and been happy to get up. Like I used to be. I remember when I lived in the UK and I didn't want to get up. I would literally sit in bed and be like, shit, I've got another day. I didn't want to. I didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to be there. And I'd have this like horrible nervous feeling in my stomach all day because I was like, shit, there's another day here. Like, and you should be great. Like, I'm grateful for my life, and I've got some amazing people in my life in the UK, and my mum, and my sister, my stepdad. But I just, yeah, it was insane. So now here, I like literally wake up. I feel blessed every day to be here. It's absolutely insane. It's the best thing I've ever done. And hopefully, may it continue.
Which I guess gives hope to everyone else who's going
Yes,
through a tough time. Like there will be the time when you'll be grateful to wake up. You'll
yes.
be grateful to live this exact life.
Yeah, and it's just not giving up as well. I think a lot of people want to give up, and I did. But at the same point, you have to look at what your surroundings are, who you're hanging around with, your environment, your work life. Like I said to some of my clients have actually left their jobs because I said, "What is making you unhappy?" And they're like, "My job." I was like, "Well, sorry to swear, fuck it off. Leave the job and find something else. Your life is too short to be unhappy." And I say that to everyone now. Life is too short to be unhappy. So if you're in a relationship you're not happy in, I know you can fix things and the grass can, you have to water the grass, whatever the quote is, but sometimes you water the grass too much and it affects your own mental health. You leave. I don't see the point anymore. I'm very short with if something doesn't offer me happiness, now I'm gone. Whether that's relationships, clients, if clients are causing me hassle mentally, I'll say it's probably best we don't work together anymore. Um, but I would say to anyone that is struggling is, change your environment potentially if you can. I know, I'm fortunate to be able to travel, but if you really want it badly enough, find another job somewhere else. Go and find yourself. Go and find who you are as a person because you're trapped. And the only way to release yourself is by doing something different, I believe.
Yeah, that's a common advice to like cut toxic people from your environment. But I believe most of the people don't do that because they're afraid to lose opportunities, lose money, lose the only person who would ever love me in this life. So, from as a person who did cut toxic people from your life and from your work, clients and surroundings, whatever, did you lose anything?
No, if anything, I've gained. The issue I had was that when I was in a relationship, we used to do everything together. So we would gym together, we did the same job. It was a very trapped environment for me. I lost who I was in this period of time of the 2 years. And with that, the friends that I then attracted were kind of also similar in terms of like, they weren't good friends, basically. And then what I found was that now I've left that relationship and I'm kind of out that environment and I've changed literally my whole life. Like my environment's changed like completely, and the people I'm around, I'm just a lot happier in myself as well. So
How did you understand that you lost yourself?
I was doing things differently. So instead of I didn't have a routine anymore. So I had like kind of lost my structure. I was just looking in the mirror and I wasn't happy with who I was looking at. Not physically, but me as a I lost who Matthew was. And then when I started to recognize it, I just thought it'll pass. And then years have gone on and it just didn't pass. And I was like, this is,
So you tried to fit yourself and your routine and your lifestyle to someone else's standards or expectations?
yes, where I was in the world, where I was living. So I moved from Manchester to somewhere else that was, no offense, full of old people. So it was the environment for me had changed from people my age to older people who had done 9 to 5 jobs all their life. They've retired, don't have much money, kind of, just live the day-to-day life. So my environment went from, aspiring people, connections and things to an environment of nothing, basically. So over time, I just started to, when you're around people that want to grow, not just financially, but everywhere, you grow with them. And you always say that quote with the 5 people you hang around with. I didn't hang around with anyone but my ex. So at the time, I was just like, I've got no one to grow. I'm not growing. I'm not changing. Nothing would change. I'd go to the gym every day, and I felt like I was like, I'd really settled, if that's the word, settled for a life I didn't want. So that definitely made my mental health go downhill because as I've got older, I always want to do new different things. Like you're traveling with Dave and things like you're making memories and doing different things. Whereas we weren't really doing that. We were just going on like really expensive holidays, working during the whole holiday, so we didn't even get a break. So it was like it just wasn't good for me. So yeah, I would definitely say the environment for me, because obviously when I posted that post, the social media one about my actual feelings, a lot of people were like, oh, I I wish I could travel. I wish I could go to Bali, but you can if you took the risk. You could if you really wanted to do something. You can do whatever you want if you take the risk, but no one will. They'll watch everyone else do it, and then one day look back and say, "I wish I did that." The amount of people that are older who say to me, "I wish I started a business," and "I wish I did this," because they see, but then they don't see the hard work that comes with it. So the successful people you see on social media, there's about 99% of the other people are not successful, if that makes sense, but they give a life of they are. Um, but obviously, I can't remember what the question was now. I kind of lost it.
I think it's a time to go to another question then,
Yeah.
because it's already formed in my head. Why you didn't quit that relationship and that lifestyle earlier, the one that you settled for?
Okay, so the main reason for that was I feel I was scared to be alone. So this is something that now I couldn't bear being alone, and that was down to the relationship because we did everything together. So I was used to having someone next to me all the time. And then what I found was I get quite anxious being on my own all of a sudden. I was like, this is not making sense to me. And I felt like I always needed her there, and she was the same with me. So it became like a kind of a weird environment, really. And then when I was in Dubai, I was on my own, so I drink more. So because I didn't want to be on my own, and that's how I was meeting people and stuff like that. Um, but then, yeah, and then when I came here, obviously, I've just started to deal with the fact that being on your own is probably the best thing in the world in terms of having your own time. You can do whatever the hell you want for your day. Whereas when you're kind of in a relationship where you feel a bit trapped, you're kind of working on their time.
What was the real fear behind being on your own? It's not like I will be on my own sitting in the room just alone. It's not that thing. It's something deeper than that.
So what I've been told from someone that I've met here when I did some therapy session was it's from a past trauma when you were younger, and apparently it's your childhood where I can't remember it, so I don't really know anything, but all I remember is violence. And apparently during that period of time, my brain's associated having to be with someone all the time.
Mm.
Like a love that I never had, I think she said. So I've associated like kind of being on my own as kind of like sad. Even though I could go and work on my own, but I'd be like, I don't want to be on my own here. But then my ex would come and I didn't want her there. It was a very weird emotion. It was very strange. But it's definitely from a past trauma, from what I've been told, being on my own. But a lot of people like that on the weekends, for example, like they don't want to be on their own. They have to go and drink
Mhm.
because they can't face. I think when you're on your own, you have to deal with issues as well more.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot easier not to do that. It's a lot easier not to deal with issues. But then over the course of a period of time, it will get worse. from what I've dealt with. So I know for a fact you have to deal with your issues otherwise, and you have to be on your. But I love sitting on my own. I love just every morning now. My routine is I literally go to for a coffee, relax, listen to a bit of meditation music. If you'd asked me that about 5 weeks ago, someone would laugh at me. I'm sitting there listening to meditation music and just like absorbing my thoughts and just relaxing. It's a very weird emotion. Whereas when I lived in the UK, I go downstairs, get an energy drink, start working straight away. And look, I see all these morning routines and, like ice baths and shit like
You're
that.
thinking, this is not for me. Like,
Yeah,
this is for
yes.
some other different special people.
Yes. I don't know if you saw that reel that's gone viral recently. There's a guy and he gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning, goes to bed at.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen it? And he puts
That's
his.
so viral. Like,
Yes.
everyone is
Yes.
so...
But it's such an. This is why I don't like social media as well, because it's such an unrealistic lifestyle that people will be like, I need to be doing that. But ultimately, Alex Hormozy said, Alex Hormozy?
Yeah, of course.
He says that any routine, and I agree with this completely, that your routine's your routine. So what works for you works for you. Every successful person has their own routine. There's no optimal routine. Of course, probably not being hungover the next day is probably the most optimal. But in terms of like optimal routines, it's whatever works for you. I am more productive when I've had an hour in the morning where I've just literally had a coffee, watched the world go by and listen to some music, and then I can do a solid 2 hour, 3 hour work block. Whereas what I used to do at home was I'd sit on my laptop, start working straight away, be stressed out of my mind, and not do the task at hand. I'd do like 10 different tasks. It was just such a waste of time. So yeah.
And I believe this is just like all of us just trying to copy someone else's lifestyle, clothes style, routine, I don't know, the way how they build their business, like all those viral videos, like this is the exact scheme how I build my 1 billion business on like 1 hour YouTube video. And we're all hoping that we're going to watch this 1 hour YouTube video and we're going to get some crazy insight. We're going to go and build the same business, but it doesn't work this way. Like, you need to go through your own journey. You need to figure it out your own shit. There is no other way. You can just copy someone else's decisions and lifestyle and achievements and make it your own. It doesn't work this way.
I think personally that's why a lot of people have lost themselves, because there's no authenticity anymore. You watch reels on Instagram and they just copy from someone else and change. There's a guy in the UK who got called out by a guy called James Smith. He literally copied word for word his YouTube video. It's an hour and 20 minutes long. Word for word.
That's a lot of work.
Yes. I don't know how he did it, but he did it. And he basically sold business courses. So he's copied someone else of their work to then make it his own, and then saying that he can grow your business for you. And the world we live in now, that's why a lot of people lose themselves. And that's why I was going as well. I was looking at how can I, people would just say like, just do what they're doing. But that's not me. That's not my authenticity. So I'm becoming someone else. That's their thing. The reason people do so well on social media, the ones that do really well, is because they're authentic and they resonate with the audience, like we mentioned in the cafe. They resonate with people. And that's where I lost it. I just thought I need to chase viral posts. I need to post me topless. But there needs to be more like of a deep-rooted message in what I'm trying to do now, which is to help people, not just physically, but mentally as well. And that's what I'm trying to balance them both now in business of the mental side as well.
There's one of the phrases that I absolutely love, that for people who's afraid of competition, there's an only way to become authentic, because there's no competition when you're authentic.
Yeah, so true. I like that.
You're out of competition.
Yeah, I like that. That's really good. Yeah, I agree.
I'm so curious to know your image of success, the way it changed throughout the years, because we all grow with some kind of very specific socially accepted picture of what success is, like from 9 to 5 to having your business, to have not only a business but specific kind of business. What was your image from the very beginning that brought you to the mental state where you've been, and how it transformed as well?
Okay, great question. I would say, so if you'd asked me maybe a couple of years ago when I first started my business, because obviously the goal when you're younger is everyone wants to make money, because of either your family, and if you're fortunate enough to have loads of money from family, then great. But if you're not, your goal is to make money and kind of be successful. As you get older, you kind of go into a social norm of like working 9 to 5. You realize you're not going to make any money from that. But if you'd asked me when I was younger, I would have just said make money, as much money as you physically can. And then when I started actually making really good money, I realized that does come with sacrificing your health a little bit, because especially with my first business, if you're working so much, you're not prioritizing yourself. I don't care who you are. If you're working 18-hour days, 16-hour, 12, you're not prioritizing yourself as well as you should be, especially mentally. You can go to the gym for 45 minutes to an hour, fine. But sleep-wise, energy levels, things like that they'll take a hit, and your mental health as well. So I had made loads of money from the first business, and I thought, wow, this is happiness. But it wasn't. I was not fulfilled at all. And then this business now, my coaching business, again, financially great. It goes up and down depending on the time of year. Most of the time it's great. But the money side of it is a bonus of the happiness that I get, the fulfillment. So the business that, actually helping people. Um, but also now just generally being happy as a person. All I care about now is being happy, because money means nothing when you're not happy. It really doesn't. And I know you can be happy with money in terms of you can do more things, but if you're not happy as a person, it doesn't matter. So for me now, it's just genuine happiness. I just want to be happy, like completely, like I am now. When I wake up and I'm just happy to do my day. That for me is priceless. Like living in Bali, as you know, it's very cheap. So just appreciating the fact that like you don't have to have loads of money here and have a normal life. Um, but yeah, I would say for me now it's just genuine happiness. I just want to wake up every day how I am, which is just
So money is not the goal for you anymore.
money is not the goal. It's a bit weird to say that because I have a business that obviously the whole point of a business is to make money.
No
But
way.
say again.
No way.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Unless you're a charity, which I'm not. But obviously for me now, yes, it's still to make money, but I'm not. So my issue was I'd always look long term and think I need to say like I need to make this X amount of money to do this and buy this car or this house and stuff. And now I'm like, I'm just literally going with the flow right now, because I don't want to pressure myself too much, because I don't want to overwhelm myself like I did and have like a breakdown like I did. But I want to just basically go with the flow, continue what I'm doing. My business is going really well. And I just want to help as many people as I can. And that's literally, I know it sounds a bit cringe, but like I just want to, whether they join my team or not, if they take something from my Instagram posts, my stories, and it pushes them to keep improving, great. My life goal has changed in terms of what I'm trying to achieve now, which is not financial success. It's success in a way that, when I die, people remember me for helping them. That's what I want now. Not I want to be successful and show off my new car and show the world that I've got this. I don't care about that anymore. I just want people to be like, he was a really nice guy. He really helped me. That message that he said, it really changed my life. Or, if they join the team, he got me in the best shape of my life, and it's changed loads of avenues in my life. That's what I want.
I can imagine someone else watching this video right now and saying, easy for you to say, you got money. You're not struggling with putting food on your table. You don't have, I don't know, kids to feed and some big payments to pay or whatever. How to change your money mindset without breaking your mental health, without going through extreme financial situations and struggles?
I would say to anyone that is, firstly, I agree with that, but also I do want to say as well that I have come from no money, so I understand this exact issue. I've been in London once and I had no money to money. I couldn't get food for the day. So that was a massive drive for me to actually make money, was I don't want to be in that situation ever again. I couldn't afford to eat for one day, and I was like, fuck this, I am not doing this anymore. Luckily, lockdown hit, and it was great for me financially. But I would say for anyone trying to make money, you need to get out of that mindset that your life is what it is now and that's it. If you want to make money, you have to understand that there's people making millions of pounds a month, thousands of dollars every month, and it can be done, but you have to sacrifice at some point. So that could be your Netflix time in the evening, that could be your weekends briefly. You have to. The only way to grow is doing something different than everyone else, and that is, if you've got a full-time job, I would never recommend anyone leave the job. But I'd recommend starting a side hustle in the evenings, a couple of days a week on the weekends, growing that to a degree where you've got the financials there, and then leave the job straight away and start with that one and keep growing that and scale it to a degree. But you have to sacrifice. There's no such thing that I don't believe as balance when you're trying to start a business, or there is when the business is at a level where you've got staff and you can kind of do that. I don't believe at the start people think that people quit the business idea because it's hard and it's scary. But at the same point, you have to understand there is sacrifice for a little bit. And when you understand that and accept it and know that you're doing this for you, it's an undefined feeling. The fact you can travel the world and do something that 90% of people can't do. It's like, I'm not doing it, it's like kind of, but I'm saying like you are a minority, but to be in a minority, you have to do something different than everyone else. And I sent it to my mum. My mum earns a very small wage from a job that she's currently in. She just left it actually. I convinced her to, which was something that we'll talk about it later. But basically, she earned very little wage for her whole life. And I said to my mum, she was absolutely miserable for work, getting anxiety. And I said, "Is it worth this?" And she was like, "Well, not really, but I need money." I was like, "But if you started your own business, you could literally earn this money by doing basics of," because she's got like a really good skill. And she just sat there and went, "Oh yeah, I didn't think of that." But it's a social norm as you get older, especially anyone, I'd say past 30, if you've not started a business, you assume it, you can't. But anyone can start a business and anyone can be successful at it if you want it badly enough. And that's why it's important to not choose something you necessarily love, but something you're good at and you can make money off.
And I guess you're also telling us that there are some specific stages of having your own business. It's not only just go with the flow from the day one, trust the universe that it will bring you clients and everything else. It's like hard work first part of the time, and then you can afford to go with the flow, to relax a little bit, to balance your
Yes.
life, correct?
Yes, I would say especially for coaches or anyone in fitness as well, you see people with loads of clients and you think, right, it's going to be really easy. You start posting a couple of posts and you haven't got any clients. You know, oh wow, I was the same when I started. I thought it was going to be easy. You know, I'm in shape. People are telling me I'm going to do it, and all these people that said that were going to do my coaching and my friends never did it. So I was like, oh shit, I actually don't have any clients. And it took a time to build up. You have to build. It takes time. Anything takes time, and a lot of people aren't prepared to sacrifice time and wait.
How much time?
I'd say to be for where I was wanting to go, probably about 6 months to a year. But if that's all it takes to kind of obviously you have to keep running it and keep doing it, but that's nothing in terms of lifespan. So for me, it's like 6 months to 12 months of kind of figuring out what you're doing and growing, and then you can kind of scale it from there and gain experience. Because social media for a business is a skill. You have to understand that you're selling a product, and you have to be good at selling. You have to be able to do it properly. And if you can't do it properly, you won't be successful on social media. But that is the way the world is going now, social media. So I would say it all depends on the business, because obviously my weights business, it was successful from day one. I was very fortunate that I posted an ad on Facebook and it absolutely blew up. And I was like, what the hell is this? And then it grew very quickly. But then I started another business, a bit weird, but I started a vegans female cosmetic company.
That's very specific.
Yes, it was very niche, and that didn't do very well because it's very niche. And me and my mum went to a stall and I'd put in like £4,000 of buying these products, and I couldn't sell them. Women were buying them, but they were buying them in like singular stuff. And then I was like, oh shit, what do we do? And so maybe about 6 months of that, I completely failed, made no money. I'd invested loads of money, I wasn't getting it back. And then at Christmas time, I thought, what can I do differently? And it was selling bundles of them. So instead of selling individual, I made them into like a hamper for Christmas, and we shipped them all around the world. And I didn't make any profit. I made my money back, so I was fine. But I had to just view the situation differently. So I'd say anyone trying to start a business, understand there's going to be struggle with it, especially at the beginning. And you will fail at parts, but you only grow through failure. You don't grow from being successful. You grow from fucking up, making mistakes, feeling like you're going to give up. That brings the success, I believe.
Try to fuck up as much as possible.
Basically, yes.
In the beginning.
Yes. Ideally not financially, but if you can avoid that, do it. But it's just a case of you will suck at stuff. And Alex Smith says that you will suck for ages. Like, you're not going to be good at anything, so accept it and just keep progressing. No one is good at anything to start. Anyone with a job, you start a job, you learn to drive, you're rubbish. But after time, you get good at it. And that is what it's like with business. It's just reps.
Absolutely. I believe it's really important for everyone to remember that there is no such thing as overnight success. Even Alex Hormozi himself, like, he's been doing social media for years up until he blew up and became like popular, so every dog knows him right now. Sabrina Carpenter, she did 10 years or 12 years sitting on stage up until her worldwide tour now, and she's been called overnight success. There is no such thing. But there is a point when you will feel like everything that you've been doing up until this point, all of your skills, all of your knowledge, all of your experiences, you can apply into this thing and it starts to work. And you're like, okay, now I found it. Mm-hmm. Up until you lose it. So then you have to look for it once again.
I think people, they want gratification straight away with a business. And that's why people quit, because they expect success because they see social media people. But if you didn't see these people, you wouldn't know about that success, and you don't know their backstory. Like, Alex Hormozi's wife is one of the main leaders for his business growth. But you wouldn't know that unless you kind of, I'm really into them as a couple. I think they're great. But, they've come from nothing. Like, I've read his book as well, and they literally had nothing. They were living at her parents, and they then started a business together, and it blew up. But it took years to do that, if that makes sense. So like you said, it's a long wait, but people want instant gratification, I feel, with business. And if they don't get it straight away, they're like, I don't want to do it anymore.
And they still want the same level of safety.
Yes.
Like, can you tell me what exact business I need to start to succeed in it 100%?
Yeah.
I am willing to risk, but I'm not willing to risk all of it.
Yes.
It doesn't work this way.
No. You have to you either put it all in terms of finance, not saying financially, but in terms of you believe in it to do it enough. Same with getting in shape. There are a lot of people like the idea of it, but they're not prepared to invest in it because they feel that it's not a worthy investment because they can't do it. But you don't know until you try. So you're always just going to watch other people be successful, grow a business. And a lot of people fail businesses as well. Like, you see it all the time. But at least you've learned whatever you've done wrong in that business, you start another one. It's going to, like the vegan one, I knew exactly what not to do for the next business.
For sure.
So not go to stalls and sit with those old women and chat with them about, I used to get the products and they were like, what's this do? And I'm thinking, I don't have a clue. I had to read the front of it. I'm like, it's a shampoo. She's like, how many washes do I do? And I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing? This is not my. So I know in my head not to sell a product that I have no clue about or like or use. So again, we all learn.
Makes sense. But also you were smart enough to stop on some point and like, okay, that's going bad. Like, how can I do it differently? To ask yourself this question. Don't just go blindly and keep pushing if it doesn't work. Like that's a little bit stupid. So probably the last question that I want to ask, just to summarize the whole conversation of your transformation. You changed in so many different areas pretty much simultaneously, and your life switched to 180. For everyone who resonates with your story, for everyone who goes through same changes, what's your biggest insights? What's your biggest advices that can become a shortcut for someone else?
The biggest advice I give for a shortcut to kind of be happy, basically, in essence.
Yeah, to change your life.
You need to do something different. So if you want to shortcut being happy, do something different than you're currently doing. If it's not working now, there's a reason for that. Life is too short to be unhappy. Like I said previously, life is too short to be unhappy. So do something different than you're currently doing. If that avenue is taken where you're not happy, then it's time for change. So yeah, shortcutting that and stop looking at everyone else's life like it's perfect and happy, and you just view them as a normal person and view that we all have struggles, but you have to deal with them as well. So dealing with your shit, not just moving away. I could have just moved to Bali and carried on drinking and just carried on the same routine. You have to do something different, whether you like it or not, because what you're currently doing is not working. So change your environment, or change what you're doing currently.
What was your biggest insight through all this journey? Something that you were not expecting to.
I have feelings. It's a bit weird because obviously when I was younger and stuff, feelings, like me and my mum are stupidly close, by the way. So like, I'm not saying that she was ever a bad parent. And my dad was, they both fight, but it was me and my dad. So, but when I was younger, my mum, from photos that I saw, she's really looked after me. But I would say just generally being happy, like having feelings now is something I've never had. I'll be honest, I've never had, my whole life, I've probably never I've never loved something. I love my dog, she'd passed away, but I never loved anyone. I've never loved anything. So now I look at people and I understand empathy, I understand sadness, happiness. I can see it. Whereas originally I thought I was like a robot. So yeah, just having feelings is quite nice.
I guess it might be a common misconception that men should be strong, never cry, never be vulnerable, never nag, or never be sad even. But by numbing your feelings, you're numbing not only the negative ones, but the positive ones as well. As you said, this feeling blessed, feeling happy, feeling loved. That's a great feelings. That's the reason why we wake up in the morning.
Yes, and there's honestly no better feeling than it. Like, I actually wake up with a purpose now. It's just to be happy. I don't wake up thinking, right, obviously I have lists to do for the business, but I don't wake up and think, oh, I've got all this to do today. I think, oh, I'm really excited for today. I'm blessed. I'm happy. I'm healthy. And it's just something that people take for granted as well. But I think men especially, because there's a lot of, again, social media, it's gone to more like alpha men now, and alpha men don't cry. The ones that only make the money, the women don't. It's become very like gone. I don't personally agree with this. I agree with some of the mindsets of an alpha man, but what they define as an alpha man isn't necessarily what is an alpha man, because if you haven't got any feelings, you're not being emotional. That's what's that for a relationship, really? And you've probably got past trauma, something that you've not dealt with, that you're probably bringing into your relationship. So at the same point, I agree with some of the mindsets of it, but I don't in the fact that men should cry, men should open up, men should say how they feel. They shouldn't hide it. And obviously same with women. Women do the same, but especially men. When I posted that post that I did, there's so many men saying I can really relate with this, and they were messaging me saying I didn't know you were going through this. Your life looks so perfect, but how did you get through it? You didn't realize how many men are actually just sitting there feeling the exact same as you are, but they won't say anything because they're scared to, or they think no one cares, and that's the issue. But you don't know until you try. And for me, I didn't do it because I was like, oh, I want people to be like, are you okay? I did it because it was a good way for me to express how I felt, and it's nice. Once I did it, I felt great. I felt amazing. I felt like a weight had been lifted off me when I posted that, because I thought, I am fed up of being fake. And hey guys, like, I hope you're having a great day, blah, blah, blah. It's just too much. And trying to post like, motivation doesn't exist. You have to be structured and stuff. You do, but if you're sad, you're sad. Deal with it. So yeah, I would just say people need to start opening up more. There's no weakness in opening up if you're going to do something about it. I don't like when people open up then do nothing about the situation, because over time you just start to think it's not that important to them. So open up and do something about it. But so many people can relate to everyone's traumas. You don't know who you're going to meet. I've met some beautiful people, like even with like, I've met you, I've met Dave, I've met loads of nice people from coming here, but I wouldn't have probably in my old me spent any time with any of you. I wouldn't have even bothered to make the interaction. Whereas now, because I'm happy, I'm like, I want to meet new people. I want to meet people that are going to be in my life. So it's a great. So yeah, best thing to do I've ever done is opening up and changing who I am, and all the people I've got in my life now. I can't be more thankful for.
That's so beautiful. I believe that in our age, when the concept of masculinity and alpha man is transformed into something like being just a numb robot who's achieving goals and I don't know, like flexing in the mirror, but you bring in such a fresh ideas that being a real man, being in your masculine doesn't mean that you have to be numb. It means that you can afford to be vulnerable. You can afford to be authentic self.
Yeah.
And don't be scared of it. Don't run away from that, but take it as a strength, not as a weakness.
I see a lot of the men that say this may offend a few people, but it is what it is. Then they say alpha men are masculine. They're really insecure, and I see it. You can feel the energy of it. I don't see a secure man there. I see someone that has to try and be something else. And all I look at things now is if I had a daughter or a son, how do they view me? I want to bring them up with love, care, show them what happiness is, teach them that it's hot, life's hard, and you're going to have to go through things, but give them the best life in the world as well. But not so they become like brats, but like have like a, they have a good life. But for me, as an alpha man, if I was just stupidly structured, didn't show my feelings, and kind of had to be this macho person all the time, how would my kids look at that? Because they would also grow up the same with no feelings, and desire to just be structured all the time and make loads of money. It's not happiness, and then again, it's just a routine of they'll be unhappy. Then when they're older, that affects their relationships as well. So I'm looking at more diverse now. What a masculine man is to me now is someone that is structured, has routine, knows when to say yes and no as well, gives the right energy to the right people, but also has feelings and can open up as well. Knows what's right and wrong and does something about it. That for me is a masculine man. Ideally, someone as well who's in shape. I believe being in shape is a key to being masculine, but I also believe that having feelings and showing them is also key. I don't mean to, but like again, showing your feelings to a degree, not just keep repeating the same thing and then like not fixing it. That's not masculine to me, but dealing with the issue head on and fixing it.
That's a good one. That's a good one. I love it. Thank you for today's conversation. I think it was really insightful for many people and for me especially. Thank you for sharing your journey from the position of honesty and vulnerability. It's very important. I love it. And thank you all for listening today. I hope some of you resonated, found the words that you needed to hear today. And I will see you in the next episode. Don't forget to follow, ring the bell, do all the necessary actions, but just put something in the comments so I would know what you think. And I can create even better content for you guys and invite interesting guests. And I see you in the next episode of the Butterfly Effect podcast.
Yeah, that's good.